The professionals are those working in the industry, while the full-time students are, students coming from various countries, including Malaysia. So the programs are run in such a way that the classes are in the evening and in the weekends. So in that way, we are able to attract both the professionals as well as the full-time students. So if we trace back the alumni of the program from then until today, we find that we have many great luminaries who are our graduates. I think one of the most famous one is, of course, the current Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Malaysia, there's Datuk Muhammad Ibrahim himself, Yono from the Central Bank of Indonesia. We have Suryani, a Singaporean, with Bloomberg. And then we have Ade from Africa, who's working in one of the central banks in Africa. And we also have one of the most recent graduate who is in the office of the governor of the Bank of Nigeria, Central Bank of Nigeria. So those graduates are key people who will be helping us in developing Islamic finance and increasing our network in Africa, in Asia, and many other countries.
That concludes our segment with Triple IBF. Next, we will go to a more recently established institution under the purview of Bank Negara Malaysia called INSIEF, which was established in 2006.
The International Center for Education in Islamic Finance, or INSIEF, is a global university offering academic and professional qualifications in Islamic finance. INSIEF is committed to elevate and advance Islamic financial knowledge, develop future leaders in the Islamic finance industry through learning programs, and serve as the center for collaboration with other Islamic financial educational centers. This is particularly important for the Malaysian Islamic finance industry, which is seen to be the most progressive and attractive in the world. Its banking assets exceed $30 billion, and it has the largest Islamic private debt securities market at $35 billion. The establishment of INSIEF reflects the need to invest in human capital to advance the Islamic finance industry. An endowment of 500 million Malaysian ringgit was allocated by Bank Negara Malaysia to cover operating expenses at INSIEF. In its efforts to establish a network of mutual cooperation and collaboration among institutions of higher learning, INSIEF entered into a strategic partnership with such institutions in Malaysia to strengthen the ability to leverage the respective institutions' research expertise. This is in addition to strategic relationships with Takaful agencies and similar institutions from Indonesia, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "If anyone travels on a road in search of knowledge, God will cause him to travel on one of the roads of paradise. The angels will lower their wings in their great pleasure with one who seeks knowledge. The inhabitants of the heavens and the earth, and even the fish in the deep waters, will ask forgiveness for the learned man. The superiority of the learned over the devout is like that of the moon on the night when it is full, over the rest of the stars. The learned are the heirs of the prophets, and the prophets leave no monetary inheritance. They leave only knowledge, and he who takes it takes an abundant portion." Sunan of Abu Dawud, Hadith 1631.
Welcome to The Capital. The Capital is your one-stop business channel. The Capital will change your perspective.
Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "God, his angels, and all those in heavens and on earth, even ants in their hills and fish in the water, call down blessings on those who instruct others in beneficial knowledge." Al-Tirmizi, Hadith 422.
Islamic Finance at the capital was given the privilege to attend 2 events held recently. Let's have a look at our reports.
Assalamualaikum. We are at the sidelines of the 5th International Islamic Capital Market Forum. I have with here the honored Dr. Abbas Mirako from INSEF, and he had just presented a paper today on risk sharing and public policy. Dr. Abbas, welcome to the capital, and can you share us on your thoughts on what you presented today?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Wa alaikum as-salam. A pleasure to be here with you. Today, basically, my paper related to risk sharing and public policy, theory, instruments, and practice. And basically, as you heard this morning, Tansari Zarina said that the core of Islamic finance and its cornerstone is risk sharing. Well, this is what many scholars have been talking about for the last 30 years, but this was the first time where you had a public forum sponsored by security commissions dedicated to the idea of risk sharing. And what this paper was all about was basically to say this is nothing really strange for societies to talk about risk sharing. It exists in our societies. Anywhere where you have a government with the power to tax and spend, you have risk sharing going on. The reason is that governments don't have any resources of their own. They have to raise it through taxes. And if the revenues go down because incomes go down, naturally the risk of incomes going down is shared by the government because their revenues go down. If they go up, their revenues go up. Therefore, government is really a partner. It shares the risk of the private sector. Similarly, when it spends, when the economy is not doing well, the expenditure of government increases in order to stimulate the economy. Therefore, again, you have risk sharing. But then it goes throughout the society, all kinds of risk sharing structures in all societies, not just one or two, but somewhere they're more sophisticated than others. But even in primitive societies, there are risk-sharing procedures, risk-sharing methods, risk-sharing instruments. What we have said, for example, in cases of let's say, something like microfinance. Microfinance is also a risk-sharing procedure, but it's not doing very well. The reason it isn't doing very well, like the reason it's not doing well, you can look at the data. Out of all of the poor classes across the world, only 5% have been using microfinance over the last 35 years that microfinance has been in existence. Because microcredit has another side of the coin. One side of the coin is microcredit, but the other side is microdebt. And it operates on the basis of interest rate. And what we are saying is risk sharing in the spirit of basically sharing the risk of everybody in society. When it is used in conjunction with interest rate-based financing methods, it tends to create inefficiencies. It tends to lose energy. It doesn't serve as well. So we are saying basically what Islam is proposing is risk sharing without the use of interest rate-based debt financing.
But you were saying in your speech today that the GDP growth of the world is 3%, whereas the debt growth is 5%. It's simply unsustainable.
That's right.
And when will you see the trigger point happening?
The trigger point is really, it's in the making. We are right at the edge of serious danger to the world economic and financial system. When you look across the world, every time there is debt, there has to be some income to try to validate that debt. And when you have an inverted pyramid of debt, building over a small point of production, which is growing right now. Global GDP is growing somewhere between 3–4%. On the other hand, the debt is growing globally with 5–7%. So there is no way, and there is a huge stock of debt, $150 trillion. That is almost 2.5 times as large as the global GDP. So you know that this is going to have to collapse at some point in time. Where will that point reach? We don't know. If the trigger is, sovereign default, either in Spain or Greece or Italy or one of these, then you have this domino effect.
The tradition of absolute integrity, the tradition of competency at the highest levels, the tradition of dependable expertise in economic affairs and monetary matters, and above all, the tradition of serving first and always in the interest of the nation. As the chief architect of building a sound financial system, Tun Ismail Ali shaped the Malaysian financial system, overseeing the transformation of economic from agriculture to manufacturing and services. His contribution to financial and economic development have taken place in our country. In recognition and honor of his contribution, Bank Negara Malaysia has set up the Tun Ismail Ali Chair at the University of Malaya. The chair aims to enhance academic excellence in the areas of monetary and financial economics amongst local universities and build a strong foundation in monetary and financial economics among economics graduates. Through programs such as the public lecture, the chair will also enhance the knowledge among the local banking and financial community. Since the establishment in 2000, eminent persons have been appointed to the Tun Ismail Ali Chair.
Now, before he gets into this lecture, let me say how honored I was to co-author his paper for him. But actually, the paper is all his work. I had the little contribution in the sense that the idea for this paper came from our dinner together last year, or earlier this year, when we said what would be the appropriate topic. And I think that it's absolutely important that somebody of his caliber in theoretical economics consider Islamic finance not from the position of an Islamic scholar, but from the economics high theory. So, ladies and gentlemen, before much ado, let us all welcome Professor Dr. Ajit Singh, the fifth